All right, I am finally ready to give you guys my thoughts on Tucker Carlson and Fox News. I have spent the last 2 days, no telling how many hours, reading and reading and reading. I have spent even more hours watching reactionary videos from people like Glenn Beck, Megyn Kelly, Bill O'Reilly, people who I feel might know what they're talking about here, people who used to work at Fox News. Key word there, used to. The Fox News Glenn Beck worked for in the late 2000s, early 2010s, not the same Fox News that we have today. For decades, Fox has been the beacon of cable news. CNN used to have this slogan, the most trusted name in news. That slogan really belonged to Fox, at least for half the country anyway. The reason Fox has remained at the top of cable news since the 90s is because they were different. They offered something completely different. Corporate media, for the most part, is all the same. You're getting the same content, the same opinion from MSNBC that you get from CNN. New York Times, Washington Post, USA Today, Chicago Tribune, Philadelphia Inquirer, The Guardian, not to be confused with The Indian, but they're all the same. They are essentially the printing press for woke United Methodist. Fox News was completely different. It was the place where normal people could get their news. For the last few years, Tucker Carlson was the face of the franchise. Believe it or not, Tucker Carlson struggled for the first 3 years after taking over for Bill O'Reilly. His ratings were okay, but I wouldn't call them great. He was averaging 1 million viewers less in prime time than Bill O'Reilly did. Everything changed in the spring of 2020. Now, if you listen to the woke mainstream media, they will tell you Tucker Carlson changed. He went off the deep end. He became a right-wing zealot. He refused cucumber insertion. He refuses to be one of us. Instead, he caters to the others. Truth is, Tucker Carlson didn't change. Tucker Carlson didn't go off the deep end. The rest of the media did. Corporate America did. There is a reason Tucker Carlson dominated the ratings the last 3 years. Laura Ingraham, Sean Hannity, they're okay, but they have a tendency to play it safe, which is probably why they are still employed by Rupert Murdoch. Tucker Carlson, he was not afraid to call out the bullshit. Tucker Carlson wasn't afraid to give normal people the truth. I believe the truth is what got him fired. More specifically, corporate America's reaction to the truth. The constant outside pressure on Fox executives to get rid of Tucker Carlson. Pressure from the media, pressure from government, pressure from sponsors. During his hour in prime time, did you ever pay attention to the commercials? If so, did you ever notice the complete lack of corporate sponsors? Go watch commercials on CNN, MSNBC. Compare those to Tucker Carlson. He had the same handful of sponsors every night. My Pillow, some random organization assisting military veterans, promos from political groups promoting Ron DeSantis for president. That was it. That was it. It doesn't matter how big your audience is. If you can't get companies to sponsor your show, you can't make money. The thing is, Fox used to have the balls to stand up to this. Something similar happened to Glenn Beck a little over 10 years ago. Glenn Beck was on at 5 in the afternoon, and he was drawing primetime level ratings. Just like Tucker Carlson, Glenn Beck could not get corporate sponsors. Hell, they outright boycotted his show. Corporate America was pressuring Fox to pull Glenn Beck off the air. Why? Because he was exposing the truth. Back then, Rupert Murdoch refused to bend over and wait for the cucumber. He offered Glenn Beck a multi-year extension. Now, of course, Beck, he ended up turning it down, started his own media company. He no longer wanted to deal with the constraints of corporate media. I'm going to show you guys a couple of clips. This is why I believe Tucker Carlson was fired. Now, it's not the only reason. There is a lot more that went into this decision. I'll explain what finally pushed Rupert Murdoch over the edge here in just a second. Over the last 2 years, Tucker Carlson has gone after top-ranking military officials. I'll show you a couple of examples of what I'm talking about. Watch for yourself.
So we've got new hairstyles and maternity flight suits. Pregnant women are going to fight our wars. It's a mockery of the U.S. military. While China's military becomes more masculine as it's assembled the world's largest navy, our military needs to become, as Joe Biden says, more feminine, whatever feminine means anymore, since men and women no longer exist. The bottom line is, It's out of control, and the Pentagon's going along with this. Again, this is a mockery of the U.S. military. Hard to believe that man wears a uniform. He's that unimpressive. Notice he never defined white rage, and we should know what it is. What is white rage? Well, like drapetomania, it's one of those diseases that only affect people with certain melanin levels. It's a race-specific illness. That's what Mark Milley has learned from reading about it. That's why he's making his soldiers read about it too. They need to know. Watch.
I've read Mao Zedong. I've read Karl Marx. I've read Lenin. That doesn't make me a communist. So what is wrong with understanding, having some situational understanding about the country for which we are here to defend? And I personally find it offensive that we are accusing the United States military, our general officers, our commissioned, non-commissioned officers, of being, quote, woke.
He's not just a pig, he's stupid.
Did you find any of that to be offensive? Did that commentary trigger feelings of fake outrage? I just can't believe he called General Milley a pig! Fat shaming is no bueno in our woke utopia. General Milley can't help that he has an affinity for General Mills. Over the last 3 years, Tucker Carlson has been relentlessly attacked for calling out the woke military. He is bashing the birthing persons who protect our country. No, he is attacking the leadership at the top who allowed the woke fungus to infect the most important institution in America. Let me ask you something. Who do you want in our military? What qualifications, what standards do you want them to meet? I think I've told you guys before, one of my former coworkers was a Marine. Actually, 2 of them were. They used to tell me all the time how brutal boot camp was in Parris Island. They would have them kneel in a sand pit for hours with flies stinging the shit out of them. If one person flinched, the entire process was restarted. During morning roll call, if one person had a wrinkle in their bed, the entire platoon suffered the consequences. The entire boot camp stripped away the individual and trained them to function as one unit. If you have a platoon of, say, 20 men, 19 of them can be the best of the best, but all it takes is one weak link to destroy the entire platoon. There is no individuality in the military. At least, that's the way it used to be. Today, the military is focused on diversity, equity, and inclusion. I don't want our military making hiring decisions based on some racial quota. I don't want them promoting people based on their fetishes. We have too many straight men in leadership positions. We need someone in the LGBT community. Look, if a member of the LGBT community is qualified, all good. There are plenty of gay dudes that will kick your ass, but their sexual orientation should play 0 part in the process. Now, another frequent target of Tucker Carlson was Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin. 2 years ago, he said, "We are dedicated to eliminating racism and extremism in our military." When has the military ever been accused of racism? I have always been under the impression they didn't care what race you chose to identify with. And what extremism is he talking about? I thought we spent the last 20 years fighting extremism in the Middle East. Since when did our military become infected with it? Truth is, it didn't. It became infected with the woke fungus. The extremism Lloyd Austin is talking about is anyone who opposes the Biden administration politically. Translation? Normal people. The reason Tucker Carlson spent so much time calling out the military is because the military had become overly political. If there is one institution in this country where politics don't belong, it's the military. Now, do I think the Defense Department put pressure on Fox News to fire Tucker Carlson? Yes. Do I know that for sure? No. But do I think that? Yes. Don't take my word for it. Go look at their reaction when Fox finally went through with firing Tucker Carlson. Military officials were overjoyed. Finally, the man who exposed our bullshit lost his platform. We can now continue with our failed policies. Gone are the days of don't ask, don't tell. Now our motto is assume position, don't yell. The Daily Mail spoke with several military officials. Now, of course, they refused to give their name. They chose to remain anonymous. One official told the Daily Mail, "America is a better country now. Why? Because Tucker Carlson can no longer criticize the military in front of millions of people." Translation: his free speech has finally been silenced. According to Vanity Fair, the tipping point for Rupert Murdoch and firing Tucker Carlson happened last Friday night. Tucker was giving a speech at the Heritage Foundation. He told the audience that national politics has become a battle between good and evil. Sounds about right to me. The speech was laced with religious undertones. At one point, Tucker Carlson said there was only one thing that could save America: prayer. "Oh, that is great! Tucker's one of us now. Let's all hold hands and pray to the woke oak tree. Hopefully, our deity will show us grace by dropping a few nuts." No, Tucker Carlson was talking about praying to God. According to Vanity Fair, this pushed Rupert Murdoch over the edge. Now, me personally, I don't think the lawsuits had anything to do with this. Some low-level producer is suing, claiming Tucker Carlson is anti-Semitic and used language that could qualify as sexual harassment. I think it's complete bullshit. According to Megyn Kelly, Tucker Carlson rarely went into the office. He works remotely. I don't think the lawsuits had anything to do with it. I think this came down to Fox News bending the knee to the woke movement, finally caving to their pressure. Now, does this mean Fox News is going woke? I've read several reports claiming Rupert Murdoch is looking to sell the network. Not only was he having a hard time getting sponsors, he was having a hard time getting buyers with Tucker Carlson as the face of Fox News. Why else would you fire the biggest star in cable news? When this news was released on Monday, Fox News lost $1 billion in market valuation. They also lost 1 million viewers in Tucker Carlson's time slot. If Fox News does what I think they're doing, whether it's under Rupert Murdoch or new ownership, if they go woke, I think it's the end of cable news. Cable news took a beating this week. The industry had two people who constantly generated controversy: Don Lemon, Tucker Carlson. They're gone. Like I said, Sean Hannity, Laura Ingraham, they're okay, but they are not commanding your attention. Joy Reid has faded into oblivion. Rachel Maddow, she works on Monday nights and paints watercolors the rest of the week. Andy Cooper is irrelevant. Who is the star in cable news? Tucker Carlson was the only reason many people still watch Fox News. The industry is shifting right now. Hell, the industry's already shifted. Who has more influence? Ben Shapiro or Sean Hannity? Joe Rogan or Caitlin Collins? Glenn Beck? Andy Cooper? If I'm Tucker Carlson, I'm looking at this firing as a blessing in disguise. He can be far more influential now without dealing with the constraints of corporate media. And believe me, he was being held back at Fox News. For a sizable portion of their audience, I think Fox News has damaged their credibility beyond repair. Even if they don't go fully woke, the perception that they are is already there. In the last month alone, they have fired Tucker Carlson, Dan Bongino, and Laura Trump. What do they all have in common? They're all anti-woke. The question is, who's next? Give me your thoughts. Does the firing of Tucker Carlson prove Fox News has gone woke? Is legacy media a dying industry? Today, I feel like more people get their news from people, from individuals, instead of media corporations. But you tell me. Sound off in the comments below. Make sure to like and subscribe. Click the notification bell to receive all notifications from the channel. Best way to contact me is by email at btlkc84@gmail.com, KC_BTL84 on Twitter. I'll see you guys later.